Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Larry, and today is just going to be a little update, just a little life update. I figured I'd check in. I don't. I've been kind of transitional lately myself, my personal life. A couple of things have changed that were staples for a long time, and I figured that I would share a couple of stories over one of these. Actually, this is. Oops. There we go again. Mr. Focus. A Roly Puro cigars from Rolando Reyes Jr. A Roly cigar. And this is, of course, a less expensive cigar that you can buy in bulk, usually like a 20-pack. And I gotta tell you, I like them. I do like them. The other one that I like is Drew Estates makes a bundled cigar called Factory Smokes. Not unlike this. Different. They taste a little bit different, but the same quality. I call these like golf course cigars, or camping cigars. Not exactly luxury, but actually a nice smoke. So I'm going to light up my Roly here. Get about half lit. With a cigar, being half lit makes all the difference in the world. If you don't catch that one edge did not light up, you're going to have a shitty smoke. You got to balance that shit out. It's true, if it's only half lit, it doesn't even taste right. Let alone do you not get enough smoke. It tastes like crap. Now I'm going to hit the table and juggle the camera around and the microphone. So anyway, this is worth talking about. And honestly, I don't know how many of my personal friends actually watch my channel. I don't know. I've probably got maybe one or two that I'm sure do. Others I'm not so sure about. But I recently made a change in my musical association life. I had been doing lead guitar in a classic rock band for a good number of years. Probably a total of about maybe 10 or 11 years, I think. I took a hiatus in the middle when my health took a bad turn and I had trouble walking for a while. And so that band sort of took a break for a while until I began to heal again. Then they decided to get back together. And that was about 8 years ago, I think, maybe 9 years ago. But, the band played a lot, and it was a good band. It was a good band. Depending upon what you like. If you like to take your girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever, out dancing, then it was an okay band. If you like to take them out to hear, classic rock and even a little bit of maybe folky, jazzy stuff, and just basically have a good listening experience, then it was a great band. Because the music was reproduced pretty accurately, I think, to the best of our abilities. And we had some really good players in that band. And I enjoyed doing it for a long time, but like anything else, with a man maybe, or even I guess even a woman, my age, upper 50s, you look at the situation you're in once in a while and you ask yourself, is this everything that I want to do? Is this does this satisfy everything that I want to do? So basically, over the course of maybe a few months, I would make a mental list of items, positives, negatives, why I should stay. And on the positives, they were easy. Great musicians, nice guys, very relatable people, and good friends, just really guys I'd known for a long time. And my association with each of these guys, evolved over time. Some of them was some of my relationships within that band were strictly music. I mean, social because we got along great, but we didn't really hang out. and and so some associations I considered only musical, although friends within the music, but others within the band were from a long time ago. From, you might as well say I was a kid when I knew some of these guys. Couple of them. Well, I kind of tortured over whether or not I wanted to upset that apple cart. Because what ended up happening with me personally, my physical capabilities are limited, and I wanted to use the time that I probably have left, being able to play, doing exactly what I want. And of course, as you get older and you reach middle age and your responsibilities change, you have less and less really free time until you're ready to retire, I suppose. But family matters. What happens when you start becoming a quote-unquote senior member of your family? More and more things come to rest with you, and there's it's just natural evolution. Especially like in my case, where you're the only middle-aged male in the whole family. I've got a nephew who's in his 30s, and but he's got his own family unit now with little kids. He's starting off kind of where I was, except I didn't have my own children at his age, but there were children in my family when I was his age. There were children around me. But the point being, reaching mid to upper middle age and being a musician with limited capabilities now, you start to think, am I leveraging them where I want them to be? And you begin to weigh what you want against what your bandmates want. And the scale began to tilt, even to my own surprise. One thing I kind of felt, and I almost feel like I'm just kind of confessing, I suppose, to a camera, but I felt welcome in the band as a musician, but I think I also felt a little bit resented. I began to feel resented, and that's a feeling that was kind of new to me. I never really felt it before, but I had this feeling that all my best efforts were kind of a little bit sneered at because I don't know, maybe I was outstepping my bounds musically. I don't know. I just don't know. We never really had this conversation. But agendas began to diverge. The person who managed that band wanted it to be busier, was talking about stepping up, advertising the band and booking the band and getting the mailing list bigger and all this other thing. And I began to realize that that's just the opposite of what I wanted. It really was. And I didn't know how to say it without hurting somebody's feelings. But I began to feel like, I'm not crying. My eyes always weep, especially when I smoke. But I began to feel like this is going, if he has his way, I'm going to be doing a lot more of what I don't want to do. And it weighed on me. And I didn't really want to bring it to any of the other bandmates, really, because it was a good band, There was a large apple cart to upset, let's say. And I did go to one guy, and he's probably watching this, and tell him in advance what I was feeling. Well, the reason why I went to the one guy is because I think we kind of had similar feelings. Only his were known. He said all along he was not necessarily motivated by gigging. He didn't enjoy playing out. And I began to realize that although I do enjoy playing out, the work of doing it, when you're in a band that kind of has its own PA system and all that, just the work of doing it, and not just the physical work, but the responsibility, knowing that it has to be done, creates a very strange dynamic. And I said to myself, would I have ever bought a big PA system? No. Nope. For many years, when I was doing really successful music, I threw money at the PA system. I hired the best people. I gave them a couple of $1,000 a show, and I said, it better be spectacular. And it always was. I didn't have to worry about it. Showed up with my amp, my instrument, my stage management, basically. To other people. Me and a partner of mine did ethnic music for many years. And that was really great. And big production. But I never once thought of purchasing PA. My partner did. He wanted to buy a PA system. But that was basically because of a specific project we wanted to do. He actually did buy one. And, it was pretty nice. It was not what I was used to. But it was pretty nice. It was good enough for the purposes of what we wanted to do at the time. Anyway, to condense that story down, very seldom in my life have I ever bought sound equipment, like big sound equipment. Microphones, mic stands, cables, speakers, amplifiers, mixers, effects. God knows, I did not want to have to own all that stuff. And I had trouble dealing with the people who did own stuff like that. And the band I'm talking about today, the one that I was in up until recently, was based around it. Basically, the quote-unquote leader, I guess, manager, whatever you want to call him, was providing everything. And, he was pretty generous about it. We rehearsed at his house, and he did have a really... Oh, look, there's a hummingbird out there. Just now I was thinking to myself that I'm not seeing them anymore. There's one right there. And it's one I haven't seen all year. Look at him. He's big. Sorry. It's like that movie. Squirrel! Hummingbird. Wow, he's coming right up to my window. What you doing there, boy? Ironically, he's going after the flowers on my tobacco plant. So, back to the story. I watched what happened to a person who owned all that stuff, had all that responsibility, and I watched it change its personality. And, I felt like I was, some baggage in the responsibilities that he had brought on himself. And as much as he operated under the I don't want to say rule, assumption, operated under the plan that this was going to be a kind of a democracy and whatever. As much as that was ostensibly, espoused, it didn't really turn out that way. I began to feel a little bit naughty, like, Larry's not the guy contributing to booking the band or making things more solid. And then, of course, I had to exacerbate that problem by having physical limitations and not being able to lift things. I mean, I can lift a lot. I just can't carry anything. Can't walk while holding something. It's really kind of embarrassing. And I've always been kind of a bull that way, up until recently in my life. I've been able to do stuff like that easily, bands I was in. Even when I did hire the sound systems, I would help the guys put these massive speakers and stack them up, no problem, just to get it done faster. But lately, I can't do that anymore. I haven't been able to do that for a number of years. But I began to feel like that was a problem, because my limitation was forcing, the equipment of the band to be downsized more and more, until I felt like I was forcing a compromise in the band. And I didn't want that. And I started to feel like I was a drag on the agenda, on the master plan. And that added to the fact that I'm still a pretty decent musician, a pretty decent singer. I think the fact that I was willing to come and do that well, but not do the other responsibilities well, created a resentment. No one's going to tell me otherwise either. I could see it. And I felt it. I felt it all the time. Every time I was going to that practice, it was like, I'm going there, I'm kind of dreading it. I know I'm going to be able to play basically okay, but there's going to be a lot of insinuations and things like that about how, we could have been a lot bigger if only, if only certain things didn't happen, and all the things that were certain things that didn't happen were my fault. So, anyway, tell you all that just to tell you that I decided finally. I went to one of the bandmates, not the manager, and I said, dude, I want out. I'm going to quit. And he said, well, you know that I've not wanted to gig out for a long time. I said, yeah, that's kind of why I'm telling you, because I know that you know how I feel. And he said, well, if you're going to do it, then I certainly am going to do it, because what would be the point? I mean, honestly, at that stage, but at that time, at that point in time, my main reason for being in that band was not the great music. And it was great music, but it wasn't the great music that kept me there. It was guys like him, and the bass player, and the drummer, and everybody. Great guys to be around. Sorry, my talking habit gets in the way of my smoking. That made it particularly difficult, because now the band had become my social life as well. Really my only social life. So really I was messing with a lot of dynamics here. I was messing with my own social life, my musical involvement, other people's musical involvement, other people's agendas for their quote-unquote business of the band. I was messing with a lot of things, and to want to quit, I mean, in my experience, growing up from when I was a teenager, that's what bands do. Oh, the drummer wants to quit. He's got some other thing he wants to go do. Ah, damn it. Oh, well, we'll replace him. So I kept that in mind, that's what band members do. They're interchangeable. I mean, it's a band. It's not a family. I'm not blood related to them. We're not married. It's an association by agreement. Well, right now this seems like pretty good chemistry. Let's do this for a while and see what happens. Well, sometimes you reach a point where, okay, well, that's all well and good. That's been done. I don't think the music is going to get much better because it's really good at this point. Now it comes down to the dynamic, the social dynamic. And it's not that I don't want to associate with these guys anymore. It's that I want to change the music up, so that would mean excluding these guys musically. But then that puts the stress on the, it shouldn't affect your friendship with people. But the fact is, though, when you're tied into so many aspects of somebody's plan, even if just circumstantially, you want to quit. You quit, and you're cutting a bunch of strings, not just the music one. Excuse me. You're not just severing the tie musically. You're touching on people's lives. And what it came down to ultimately was, have I valued my own life and my own agenda as much as I should be valuing it? Because I feel like I'm only staying in this band because of the momentum and because of my reluctance to hurt someone's feelings or upset their apple cart. And it was not an easy decision. But I knew that at the moment of quote-unquote quitting, at the moment of my resignation, it was going to look like it was an easy decision. You know what, I quit. Because that's going to be the first that some people are hearing of it. They won't know the torture that I went through, considering weighing things. But what made my decision final was, what made me decide to leave that band was, I I had been playing with other musicians from time to time. I have an oldies band that I do on Friday nights, and that never gigs out. That's not a performing band, not live. We've been playing for ourselves for years, just for the enjoyment. And it was funny. One night it just occurred to me, that band, that little oldies band, is so informal. Just so absolutely informal. Any one of those band members could say on any given Friday night, you know what, I'm not coming. All right. Nobody cared. Well, maybe the rest of us can get together and just mess with shit, So, but I realized how important that informality was to me. It was really important. I said, wow, I really love that. That's what I want to do. I want to loosely associate for the best possible music. The best possible music that can be created on, zero agenda, let's say. Just for the sake of maybe making some Zoom recordings in the room of, of the best version of a Beatles song or something. And then listening to it afterwards and saying, listen to that. We nailed it. You make an archive of that. You keep it. You're not going to go play that in a club. People aren't going to pay money to see Beatles songs in a club anymore. Most people, believe it or not. I would, but they're not out there. So I made that discovery that I loved that more than what I was doing in the formal band that I was in. And although I wasn't quitting the one band in order to just stay with the other minor band doesn't change at all. Still hasn't changed. But that big commitment I was in, I just didn't want it anymore. I didn't want it. I felt I'd taken it as far as I wanted to take it. I'd learned everything I wanted to learn about myself and about my fellow musicians and what the capabilities are and what that band was good at. I learned everything I wanted to know. Having learned that, I was done. I didn't have anything left in me to learn new songs or get new gigs. I just didn't. It used to fire me up, but it made me feel like nothing now. And I said, I don't want to do that, and I also feel resented for it. I feel resented that I wasn't excited. Larry's not excited. He's not a team player. That's how I felt. How do you get excited about something that is someone else's dream? And not only is it someone else's, but you don't even see it as a good dream. The live music performance industry, let's call it, business, is not what it once was. I mean, kids are on their media now. Everything happens on that tablet or phone with the earbuds. That's it. That's where music is now. Music is not, hey, we're all going to go down and see this band play at this cool, outdoor ranch club or this big technological, club that opened up in some city. We're going to go see a band perform there under the crazy lights and laser beams. That doesn't really happen that much anymore. That's not really such a business anymore. And guys my age are now retiring and things like that, and they remember those days, but they're not there anymore. So not only, it's not like there's old man clubs that we can go to see all that stuff. There probably are, but that's not the point. That's not where the industry is. So if somebody starts a band today and says, we're going to be big, we're going to be stars, you won't have to have a day job because this band's going to work everywhere and it'll be the best thing you ever heard and we'll all make money and people will be talking about us. And no such thing. I'm sorry, a lot of people are going to disagree with me. If you're a musician, if you're a working musician, and I know that some of you are, you may disagree with me. Maybe it's different where you are. But from my circumstances, in my area, that industry is gone. That business, that reason for being in a great live band is gone. So for somebody to say, we need to get more bookings, we need to get a bigger mailing list, we need to record some originals too. Well, There are original bands out there, and I know a few, you know. There are original bands out there with material that even I have said, these guys should be known by everyone. These people should be globally famous. But there are so many of them in an industry that doesn't give a shit about them. I'm sorry. Look, if you're the grandnephew of some electronics firm executive in West LA, okay, and you've got a band and you created some music and it's actually halfway decent, well, you probably have an instant in, because some hands are going to wash each other. You're just going to be a pawn. You're sure, you're a great musician, great singer, great songwriter, handsome, pretty, whatever you are. Everything you have to offer that you're so proud of is simply going to be someone's tool. All right, I have a quote unquote talent. I've got talent. So what we need is backing, and we need media, and ultimately it comes down to what ad potential do we have here. That's all it is. So you see your big performers on TV, and you see these shows, where people get big and famous or whatever, and they're promised a record deal. That's all bullshit. Sure, they may get a record deal, but again, they were the talent that someone made money out of finding. Oh, I know we do. Let's have an America's Got Talent show or a voice show, and we can make money on people betting on who's going to win. And then when we're done and someone does win, we've got our talent we're looking for. Talent. Talent being a person. We get our talent, and we can use that for ads. We'll make money. We'll post them on some kind of media. There'll be a lot of ad saturation in there, a lot of click links, and our sponsors and backers will make money. That's all there is to it. If you start a band here in my little hometown and you say, we're a great band and we're going to be famous, you're wrong. You're right about some things. You may be a great band. You might be the best looking people that this town's ever seen, with great hands, great voices, great songs, maybe, but it's not going to amount to a hill of beans. And so, me believing that, I won't say knowing, because I'm not the expert, but me believing it and having seen enough to support that, it left me kind of, underwhelmed with what we were doing. So I have somebody who's still all on fire about it. I'm like, dude, we're approaching 60 years old, and we're not pretty boys, and and I've heard the original songs. I won't even play on them. I just don't like people's original. I don't like to do people's original music. I don't even do my own. I wrote a couple of songs once, and I watched somebody else put them on their record to say they're theirs. I'm not going to do that again. Well, recordings, CDs. Who uses CDs? Who makes records? Who makes recordings at all when you've got the internet? All that media saturation, that's where the music is recorded. Sure, somebody somewhere had to put it down on a file, make a file, but that file becomes, the property of some corporation and is applied wherever they want. You get screwed. You probably get bought out in the end. If you are that quote-unquote talent that they found, you'll get bought out in the end. All right, we used you for everything we need you for. This is the amount we agreed upon. And you take your $100,000 and walk away saying, oh yeah, I'm a big person. Meanwhile, they're making millions off you. And they will make more millions. And they're not going to call you back for the next batch of millions that they want to make. No. Because the public always wants something new. So anyway, you cannot relate what I do for music with that whole scene. But there's no in-between. Now, I was watching somebody going after the in-between space. There isn't any. I've got other people I'm associating with lately who are doing the same thing. I'm like, no, That's not why I want to be. It's not why I want to play with you. I want to play with you because I want that room to be full of great music. I want us to play a song, stand back and say, man, we played the shit out of that. That was great. And that's all there is. That's the reward. That's the end product. Me thinking it was great. Hopefully you thinking it was great. Let's do it again next week. That's it. Look, what would I do with my money if I was a famous musician like in the old days? I'd probably buy a lot of music with it. Or instruments. Why do that? I got it now, So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. So that's why I quit the band I was in. On the night I quit, a lot of feelings got hurt. And I was thinking that in the social circle of friends connected to that band and everyone that they know, and their extended families, friends, associates, that most people would say, well, I know why he did it. I know why he quit. And if I ran that band and my lead guitar player quit, my first reaction is, all right, who do we know to replace him? That's it. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. I'm not going to sit there and say, after everything I did. And the thing is, they don't say it to me. They say it to the people that I know. And it comes back to me. I hate this he said, she said shit, but it's what happens. It's what happens with people. Me, I've not told anybody my feelings. I'm telling you now, and this is the first place I've told. Maybe my sisters, I think. And they don't give a shit. To them, that's like saying, oh, what, you went shopping this morning? Great. So, what? It's coming back to me. Oh, yeah, dude. Somebody's saying you really fucked him. I worried that somebody would come back and tell me that, but I kind of knew it was going to happen, and it has, and it's happening now. So maybe it's just therapeutic for me to talk about it, but I don't like to hear in the background, I don't like to hear the peanut gallery saying, oh yeah, he's telling everybody you fucked him good. Believe it if you want. But the fact is, if you have to say that to people, you fucked yourself. You put all your eggs in one basket. You fucked yourself. So, all that said, I am hesitant to launch another such project unless it's with the agreement and understanding. Playing out, if somebody wants to hire us and pay us to play out, fine. We're not using our own PA equipment. No. If somebody asks me, Larry, would you like to bid on this corporate function? And you can be the entertainment. You handle that. Well, I'd have to submit a quote. And in that quote is going to be the price of me hiring PA. I'm going to need, $1,500 to get a sound system rented with an engineer. So that'll figure in there. And then each member is going to need to make this much. There's going to be fuel and there's going to be, expenses. And this is our quote. If they like it, they sign a one-time contract. I sign the one-time contract. You play the gig. You get the cash. You walk away. That's it. I have no plans to do it again next week. But that's the way I'm going to do it if I do it at all. But it surprises me that there are still so many dreamers out there that are, thinking that this can be something. Dude, let go of the past, man. Let go of the past. Even I, an old-fashioned, even having been accused of being, what did somebody call me once? Pathologically nostalgic. I love that. Somebody called me pathologically nostalgic. Sorry, my phone's buzzing over here. Another dreamer. But even I can see that you're wasting your time trying to put together another one of these super band things. Those high school days are over, man. So, all this equipment in my house and all these little things. The equipment, my little amplifiers, my guitars that are laying all over the place. Guitars, basses, instruments of every kind, effects pedals, all that shit. That is my industry. Right here. This is where it ends. I wanted to have all those things because I like what they do. And I guess maybe I've not been clear about that to enough people. But moving forward, I still think I'm young enough to play. And I will associate with new musicians, but they have to have that understanding. The music is the goal, not the reputation or the gigs. If we get gigs, great. But I'm not lifting shit. I'm showing up with my amp and my guitar. And you better have a microphone ready for me. I'm paying for it. That's where I'm going if I do that. Well, it's not a priority. The things that I find rewarding and enriching happen right here in the room. And I wish more people saw it that way. Fortunately, I do have some friends who do see it that way. The band I play with on Friday nights doesn't even have a name. I just refer to those guys as the Friday Night Guys. And they get it. They sit down, we play a great song, came out great, we listen to the playback on our cheap little recorder. It's actually not that cheap, it's kind of nice, but we listen to it played back live in the room. And we look at each other and say, oh yeah, we nailed that. That was great. And that is my payment right there. That's my payment. And they all feel the same way. They go home, they brag to their wives, girlfriends, families, whatever. Oh man, we were good tonight. What's for dinner? So there's that. I was thinking today about having met celebrities. And I have a couple of stories that I'll quickly share. Subject change. I'll probably put the time link in the down in the comments. Subject change. Famous people. I have not met many famous people. A lot of people can say that they have, but I'm not one of those people. Or if I met them, I wasn't sure who they were. I've had a couple of times when I talked to somebody in a particular place and said, "Well, what a weird bird," and have somebody say, "Do you know who that was?" I've had that happen a couple of times. And that was interesting. No, if I had known, I may not have spoken to them as clearly as I did. But wow. There was one incident that I was thinking this morning. This is a funny story. I met Leonard Nimoy when I was 11 years old. He had come to the grand opening of this department store in the town I lived in Massachusetts. Everybody knew he was coming. Leonard Nimoy appearing at the opening of the store was called Two Guys. Two Guys. Big department store. I guess in the 70s they were something. They were, I think they became Bradley's eventually, or Bradley's Bottom, or something like that. Another defunct store. I don't know. But anyway, the grand opening of Two Guys. They had closed this ancient department store that had been there forever and rebuilt it, and now they had this new business model, and they had a new company taking over the space. And all my friends, Trekkies, I mean, I was 11. It was the mid-70s. I was 11 years old. And my dad said, "Oh, I suppose you got to go meet him, right?" "Oh, Dad, yeah, I got to go. Can I bring my friends?" He's like, "No, I'm not toting a bunch of kids with me. Their parents want to take them, they can take them." So me and my dad went alone, and we stood in this line that was out the door. As it turned out, Leonard Nimoy was seated on what looked like maybe like Santa Claus's throne, like they do in the mall, in the back of the store. And the line was guided in a big S, big winding, you know, big turnbacks all the way up to the mountain. And we started out standing in the parking lot. And my father was saying, "Are you kidding me? How long is it going to take for us to meet this dude? I ain't got all day." Well, luckily the line went pretty quickly. There were signs everywhere that said, "No autographs. If you want an autographed picture of Leonard Nimoy, you buy one." And in those days, they were like $2 or something like that. And there was a big stack of them that he had signed, just a squiggle in a magic marker. And as we approached, I was thinking, what am I going to say to this guy if I meet him? He's like one of my personal heroes. And my father was chatting with the other fathers that were there. It's kind of funny. He actually knew a couple of them, as it turned out. And they were shooting the baloney. And we finally, after about maybe an hour of standing in line, we got up there. There were two guards, one on either side of Leonard Nimoy. And he was sitting on this, like I say, kind of a throne, big chair. And I remember he was wearing a turtleneck sweater with a a corduroy jacket. A nice, what they would call smoking jacket in those days, I guess. I don't know. He was dressed well. And he looked like money, man. I tell you, he had this watch on like I've never seen before. I'm like, holy shit, I got ice skate on that thing. And rings. He had a couple of nice rings on. But one thing about the man I noticed from far away as I looked at him, always smiled. Always smiling. And it didn't look like a fake smile. He looked like a real guy. And some kid would walk up to him and say something to him, and he'd listen with a big smile, and he'd make some comment to him, and the kid would move on. The guards were very good about moving the people on. Okay, come on now. Mr. Nimoy said a lot of people to meet. Let's move on. So finally we got up there, and I walked up to him, and he looks at me with a big smile. I'm like, "Mr. Nimoy?" He's like, "Leonard, please." I'm like, "Leonard?" I said, "I want you to know that I really, really enjoy your show. I'm a big fan, and I think that the show is going to take over the world." And he smiles. He's like, "Well, it's pretty popular, you know." I said, "Yeah." I said, "And I know I'm not supposed to ask you for an autograph or anything." He's like, "Sure, what do you need?" I said, would you sign my hand?" And this is where it gets funny. He reaches in his pocket in his size coat. He pulls out this really nice pen. One of those kinds you have to twist. And he writes in the back of my hand, SPOCK. And I was like, wow. And I'm looking at it, and he's like, "Is that all right?" And I said, "Yeah, but I was talking about In Search Of." And he went, "What?" And he looks at the guards, and the guards look at my father. My old man's like, "Yeah, he watches that show you do, the Bigfoot and the UFOs." And he was like, and Leonard Nimoy just went, like that. He laughed, and the guard smacked him on the shoulder. And the guard said to him, "You see?" He must have been a publicist. "You see? People are watching In Search Of." I said, "Are you kidding me?" I go, "It's all I want to watch." I go, "Look, I love Star Trek, no doubt about it, but I was here about In Search Of." He laughed. My father made an apology to him. He goes, "I'm sorry, I know, everybody's here for Star Trek, I get that." And Leonard goes, No. He goes, "That's great." He goes, "That's great." He goes, "That made my day." So I made Leonard Nimoy's day. Because I guess that show was kind of new in those days, but I couldn't miss it. I thought I was a real science nut, and a believer in the weird. And that's what I idolized Leonard Nimoy for. So we're walking out of there, and my old man's hitting me on the back. He's like, "What the hell you say that to him for? Christ's sake, you're talking to Mr. Spock, and now you want to talk to him about some series about Loch Ness Monster now?" But Dad, that's what I like. Then later on in life, I must have been about 25, 26. Now I'm a musician. And it was during the time when bands were popular in the area. People were going out to see bands. I was part of a 3-piece band. One of the members, by the way, turned out to be the manager of the band that I started this whole conversation with. But anyway, there were 3 of us then. He was playing bass. I was playing guitar. We had another drummer, and we played at a club as an opening act for a band called The Fools. The Fools were very big in Massachusetts because that's where they were from, I guess. But I think, but yeah, again, the members of the band were known musicians from around here. More popular musicians, of course, ones you couldn't really afford, but they were good. They were a funny band. If you remember The Fools, they had comic songs, but they actually were a good band. And I was psyched to open for them because they were good players, and I loved the singer. I thought they were great, and I was looking forward to quickly getting through our set so I could enjoy theirs. Well, this is not going to be a story about meeting celebrities. This is going to be a story about not meeting the celebrities. So we set up and we did our sound check. I guess the Fools had been there previously. Well, see, they're not really the kind of band that requires a sound check. They have their stuff really set up. Their stuff was fine-tuned, and they had a little army of people swarming over that stage to get it perfect. And so all really they had to do was just show up, yada, 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 on the microphone, and you're done. And then you come on later and do your show. We had to come set up in front of them with our own equipment. They weren't going to let us use their amps or anything like that, which is fine. I wouldn't want to be responsible if I messed up somebody's amp. So, we set our stuff up in front of them. So we had a very limited little stage that we played on, and we played quite well that first time. And when it was over, we quickly broke our shit down, got off the stage, and then they came out. Oh, the eagle is out. No kidding. I got a pair of eagles that live in a little island in the river next to my house here. They sometimes come over into the field next to my house, which right now is a cornfield. Apparently one of them saw something he wanted. He swooped down into the corn. Well, that night, we're playing. We finished. We got our stuff put away. And then the Fools came on. And it was a great show. Everybody's screaming. Everybody's drunk. They were a really fun party band. And when they were done, and all the people were leaving the club, they went back into the dressing room behind the stage. And we thought, this is going to be great. So the three of us walked back there. And there's some guy standing in front of the dressing room door. Big dude. He says, "Where are you going?" I said, "We're just going to go meet the guys and congratulate them." He's like, "You're not going in there." I said, "No, we're the other band. We're the opening band." He's like, "I don't give a shit who you are. You're not going in there." I said, "Well, it's our dressing room too, and our stuff's in there." He's like, "Well, you can come back later and get your shit." So I went back and I got the club owner. I said, "They're not letting us in the dressing room." He's like, "I can't force them." "Yeah, you can. It's your property." He's like, "Well, would you want me to?" I said, "No, I guess I wouldn't want you to." All right. So we had to wait. Sitting around with our thumbs up our asses. Luckily, we got all our gear back in our van. But I thought maybe they would relent when they were done doing whatever they're doing back there. I even said to the guard, I'm like, "Look, if they're back there fucking blowing bones or whatever it is they do, don't worry. We're hip. We're musicians. It's not like we're going to tell anybody." He's like, "Turn around and get your ass away from this door." I said, "Wow, fuck you people." So I started not liking them because of what he said to me. The club owner called us up the next day, one of us, and said, "Hey, you guys did great last night." I said, "Well, I thought we did." He goes, "In fact, the Fools want you to open for them every time they play here." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, they like you guys. They want you to open for them when they play here again." He goes, I got a few gigs booked for them throughout the year, and you guys will open for them if you want, if you're free." And we're like, "Well, yeah, well, we're going to do it." And we never met them. Never. We never ended up meeting them. I said they're fucking Boston guys. I mean, they're just regular guys. I mean, we had met other bands. We'd met the members of the Birds when they came around. We met them. Nope, the Fools too big for us little local townies. Yet they wanted us to open for them. I never figured that out. We were a good band for a three-piece. We had very aggressive, big songs that we took on for a three-piece that most three-piece bands wouldn't touch. Massachusetts is kind of known for three-piece acts, I think, at the time. There were bands like The Neighborhoods. I don't know if you know who they are. Big Boston sound. They were, of course, they were an original band. We were just a cover band. But it's odd how people are. Sure, you can work for us, but you can't meet us. And I found that a little snobby. But you see, I think the dream with people nowadays who were there for that stuff, who remember, is that they want to be able to be snobby like that too. I mean, not that they would be. Just they want to have the status where they can say, nobody can come in our dressing room. I just think that's one of the things that people still dream about happening. And that's not going to happen anymore. Those days are over. And I don't know. Thought I'd share these little life stories with you. I'll probably edit a lot of this bullshit out of this video to shorten it up because it's really quite long. But just the stories of a frustrated musician, an old guy who remembers the old days. But so anyway, now that I don't have obligations, I guess, to that band anymore, I probably will have minor obligations, like I said, to the other musicians that I work with, but not like that. Not the commitment level that I just exited. No, I'm not going to do that again. So now that I've got that free time, I may actually do some more just gear-related videos, just fun stuff. It's not like I'm selling anything, but I might just show you some cool stuff that I have, and that's gonna more or less be the focus. You know me, something to smoke and something to play, and that's what my videos are usually about, until I start waxing eloquent about shit that I know nothing about. So for today, thank you for tuning in one more time to the PipeCat channel, and I know the kids just went back to school around here. They probably have where you are too. So for all you parents out there who can have peace of mind with the kids out of the house, congratulations. And fall is just about to happen, so enjoy that when it does. And I'll be checking in with you again soon. So have a good time. Be good to each other. Stay safe. Don't let the government buy your farm. All right. Take it easy.